Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? This is Joe Figueroa with another video in our series Anatomy of a Dance, where I break down social dancing count for count, pointing out everything that dancers do. This week's video, I'm going to be breaking down an entire turn pattern rather than just a count or two. Last week, Super Mario issued a salsa partnerwork challenge to the world, and I couldn't resist. But this pattern is just teeming with technique. We're going to get microscopic on this one, people. I want to take this moment to thank all of you. I just hit 1,500 subscribers last week. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is huge to me. So thank you all. So please subscribe and ring the bell. If you'd like to support the channel, we now have a link in the description, but you better do it fast because we're starting right now. Okay, you guys ready? You settled in? Let's get into it. Since what I'm doing in this video is an entire pattern, 9 counts of 8, it's going to take a bit longer. So I decided to break this into 4 sections: leading, following, extreme techniques, and the method. If you'd like to skip to a certain section, I'll list the timestamps for each right here. We start with a double spin led by Mario's right hand and the follow's left, sometimes referred to as a crescent spin. Right away, Mario's trickiness shows up. The first spin goes over her head, but the second does not. It appears to, but actually drops to her shoulder line, causing the hand to wrap behind her head. This creates tension, informing the follow that they can no longer continue in that direction. Additionally, Mario picks up Christina's spare hand, her right, as soon as it presents itself and drops it down low to have it wrap behind her back during the next turn to the left that he is giving her. This also limits her next movement, just as the hand behind her head did previously. Mario is going to create another turn to her right here. It will be a single because the handholds say so. Mario drops his right, her left, that he used for the initial crescent spin down low to have it wrap behind her back, just as he did his left in the previous turn. I refer to this in class as a reversal, creating one position for the follow and then creating the reverse position. Here he has her right arm behind her back with her left in front. The turn to her right reverses that. Now she is with her left behind her back and her right in front. Immediately after, Mario leads her left again to reverse the reverse. This is still just the beginning, people. Once she is turned left again, Mario raises his right hand hold and uses it to create another double crescent spin, just like the opening spin of the pattern. But this time, both spins go over her head, bringing the sequence to completion. So what you have here was a double right, single left, single right, single left, and another double right. Not at all confusing. Okay, from here they go into a back break or a cumbia break, each trading places on the line. Mario created an elastic effect in the hands and brought his left hand, her right, down so it would pass behind her back, while his right, her left, went over her head. Once he's positioned where she was, he first makes sure she is where he intended and then hook turns to his right on 5, passing the hands that just went over her head over his own. Now that could have been enough for a normal human being, because the next part could easily be led from there. All they need to do is just finish out the rest of the count. They could have just stepped in place for the remainder. But this is a partner work challenge, and it is Mario. So he creates a turn to her right on the spot during 6 and 7, passing the high hands over her head. Totally unnecessary and very cool.
Waste not.
But it gets better. That right turn generated a tension in her handhold that he used to create, you guessed it, another turn, this time to her left on the spot. And here's the coolest part. Her right hand is still behind her back from when he placed it there in the previous count. Once her left turn begins, Mario lets her left hand go and quickly connects with the right hand that is behind her back. He does this as soon as it presents itself, then uses that hand to create a progressive or clockwise turn past him. Now I still question whether or not a follow would leave their hand behind their back for longer than the count in a social dance setting, but it's not impossible. But being thorough, I've come up with an alternative in the case the hand wasn't there. That's a little later. The progressive turn now has them in what is sometimes referred to as a fishtail position. Mario has her right in his, as if it's behind him. From here, Mario leads an inside or counterclockwise turn, braces the shoulder, providing lead on both sides of her body. Then a progressive turn back down the line, similar to the one from the hand catch behind her back. Both of these two turns, the inside and progressive, were executed in very common ways, giving both dancers a chance to breathe. get their bearings after all the direction change that took place. After the progressive, Mario breaks right again to face her, once again taking it to the extreme at every possible moment. Commits to an awkward handhold here, where he has his palm up, but still uses that handhold to once again create a turn to her left before leading another progressive turn, turning himself to his right at the end of hers and continuing past her during the preparation of 1, 2, 3, switching the hand behind his back and extending that left handhold out to his left, creating a press line for the follow, to guide her back down the line to where she was, and that's the pattern. Now for the follows. Since it begins with turns and spins, let's start with turning and spinning technique. As I mentioned earlier, this begins with a double right spin. Even though the second spin doesn't go over Christina's head, this is Christina, it's still a double. Now what Christina is doing here is side breaking in between each turn no matter which direction. There's the first double. She sidesteps to her right on 1 because they're dancing on 1. The hand behind her head provides a tension that starts her turn to her left during 1, 2, 3. During the prep. I'm going to address this more in the next section. This turn to the left is a single partly because Mario's picked up her right hand before leading the left, having it wrap behind her back. So now they are in their first sedenta or hammerlock position, where her right is behind her back with her left in front. Mario drops the left down and uses the tension that he now has in his right hand to begin her turn to her right. Follows, notice that Christina once again sidesteps with her left to her left. This could be a choice or just momentum dictating it. I'll dive into that in the next section as I said. She sidesteps again, repeating the technique of the previous 2 turns. Mario creates a third turn in the sequence to Christina's left. Now what Mario does is release his left handhold here. I didn't notice that when I first watched it, so when I did it, I kept the handhold. It isn't entirely necessary, but helpful. Christina sidesteps yet again, and Mario now leads the last double crescent spin. So again, that was a double crescent to the right, single left on the prep, single right, another single left on the prep, and another double right. And that was just the beginning. From here is the cumbia break. I'd like to point out here how Christina, like all great follows the hand. Mario guides his right handhold, her left, over her head to change her direction, placing her where he was. Now in a standard cumbia step, a dancer might have stepped back on 5 here. I'm mentioning this because this upcoming spin could still be accomplished whether you break back on 5 or side break as Christina does. Either could work. Now Mario placed her right hand behind her back. This part is tricky. She leaves the hand behind her back through the rest of the count, which is likely to happen in a social setting, but Christina keeps her hand in the same spot for the next count as well. The hand behind the back is integral to the next movement, which has already begun. Mario uses the hand tension created from the late spin he just led to snap her into another spin. This was with her left hand in his right. He releases her left and quickly catches her right hand that's still behind her back to brace her. Christina feels Mario quickly connect with her right hand behind her back. His tension in the hand is so strong that it dictates her progressive, or clockwise turn down the line. You can barely see it, but Christina steps down on 4 here, gains a little bit of balance, and begins her progressive. From the fishtail that comes next, Christina breaks back on 1, and moves into the inside turn, led from her right hand. This is standard. Afterwards comes another progressive turn. Also pretty standard. Now in previous Signs to Salsa videos, I talk about soft breaks and hard breaks. Hard breaks typically indicate to the follow a change in direction. Mario creates a hard break coming out of this progressive turn. Christina reacts with a quick change in direction, another cumbia or copa break before going into another progressive turn. Now what Christina went with here was a syncopated count. Typically in salsa on 1, we pause on the counts of 4 and 8. An alternative is to step every single beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's what Christina does here, see? Lastly, she applies the technique of following the hand by pivoting on the count of 3, when she feels Mario has guided her hand back in the direction she was in a moment ago. Walks out the steps, pivoting to her right to complete the pattern. The leading here is of course top tier, it's Mario. Everything that I have talked about in these videos for the last year is here. Despite being so tall, Mario keeps the turns and guidance as close to her body as possible. His spins are led flat and even, right above her head. With this first sequence being turns and spins going rapidly in each direction, Mario leads on both sides of the body, giving her a feeling of direction by using their arms either to block a direction or create a different one. During the cumbia, or enchufe, as it's sometimes called, Mario takes it to the extreme by creating a spin for Cristina on her 6. That's a spin in one beat, not easy to lead or follow. Look at how even though he just had her arm extended high to accommodate his hook turn, he still brings the hold down to her level to ensure his lead of the turn is without question. On the inside turn that follows, a lead wouldn't need to grip the follow's shoulder here, not even to lead the next movement. But a good lead provides lead on both sides of the body when possible. Here it works well. In the very next movement, we see another example of good and thoughtful lead. A follow gets theirs first. Notice Mario's turn to his right appears to be in conjunction with Cristina's progressive turn. This is an illusion. Mario knows how to take care of his follows first, and himself after. Her turn is completed before he begins his, and he assures this by waiting till she passes him on the line before pivoting. I refer to this technique as late movement, meaning at the tail end of the count, typically 7 if you're dancing on 1, 5 if you're dancing on 2, we have late rights, late lefts, late lifts, and late drops. This is a late right. I mentioned in the beginning about Mario committing to an awkward handhold. Here it is again. He back breaks or hard breaks to create an elastic effect for Cristina, changing her direction. Once she has turned full, during the prep mind you, Mario implements 2 different techniques at the same time. First, guiding the hand in the direction that he intends for the follow to face. Second, leading on both sides. He places his left hand to her back to brace her and guarantee her path for the upcoming progressive turn, once again clearing her head during the progressive first before clearing his own. That's thoughtful lead. Points her hand in the direction he intends for her, again, to complete the pattern. Lastly, let's look at the method, the story, because there is one. A good teacher creates repetition in the lesson, helping the student to practice the same techniques over and over. This happens here throughout. The way I see this pattern is, it's a theme.
I want you to write a theme.
As if he's illustrating the same point over and over. The theme is using preps as moves and moves as moves. That's what makes this a Partnerwork challenge. Nearly every preparation in this pattern, every 1, 2, 3, consists of a turn or a change in direction. This takes the pattern to a whole new level. A beginner dancer might look at this and not see anything familiar, thinking this is all choreography, but it's not. All of this is socially danceable, as long as you apply some understanding to your fundamentals. So what did I do to break this down? The same thing I always do when I see something like this. I ask myself 3 questions in this order. What does the follow do? What is the follow being led into? And how can I make it my own? A good lead has to know all of their parts and all the follow's parts as well. Once I answer the question of what did Cristina do, I figured out what Mario did to create that for her. Sharon and I wanted to do this as we understood it from the video, but I also thought to provide alternatives in case a follow is accustomed to slightly different footwork or a lead is used to providing guidance in a different way. Follows might be used to stepping forward and back in between spins rather than sidestepping. No matter, this all can still be done. A follow might choose to hold for 4 and 8 during things like this progressive. No problem. That can be done, or you can choose to go with syncopated footwork. Let's suppose you as a lead want to try to produce the same pattern but with a different handhold. I've got that for you too. Here's a version of the exact same footwork, end for end, with a little bit of my own embellishment. But using a different handhold makes it seem like a whole different pattern. And there you have a breakdown of the Super Mario and Super Cristina Partnerwork Challenge. I'm sorry if this was long, but can you blame me for being thorough? That's going to do it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. This content is for you to benefit from, so if you want to support, click on the link in the description. I really appreciate all the feedback you guys have given. Comments, likes, and even dislikes help me to provide you with the best content that I can. So hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, keep dancing.